Hi folks, wanted to go over some of the new series of rods that Penn introduced at the tail end of 2011, really the 2012 models. Now, Penn has long made a lot of fishing rods, you know, and some we've liked, some we haven't liked so much, but in general we far preferred those rods really offered by CalStar and Seeker, which were U.S. produced pieces. Penn turned basically all of their production of rods overseas several years ago. They no longer produce in this country, although they use some U.S. produced components, as well as some components from overseas, in the case of Fuji. About 5 years ago, Penn had a very good series of rods that were based on the CalStar Graphiters. Probably those are the best series of rods that Penn ever produced, in my estimation. They were an overseas made rod. A lot of guys still own them, and they're darn good rods. But I'd say Penn was off the mark, probably focusing on other things, up until this past ICAST show back in July, and they showed off the new product, and they had wonderful new reels to show off with the Fathom series. Some the spinning reels, the Torques are on the market at that point. They'd been in planning and testing phase for probably 2 years time. But Penn had a great show at ICAST, and that's when they showed off the new series of rods, and that's when we went ahead and committed to them. We decided to pick up several of the better series from Penn. We left some of the clunkers alone, which have been in Penn's line for a long time, like, not to name names, but I think the initials were the Mariner series, which didn't offer a whole lot. They weren't very unique. They were kind of your typical chunky Chinese-built rods that were made for a price point. The series of rods that we're engaged in and committed to at this point would be the replacement for their old jigging series, which were the torque jigging rods, which were attractively priced and offered good performance. Well, over the 3 years' time that those were on the market, Penn arrived at some improvements, and that's where the Carnage jigging series comes into play. There's also the Bluewater Carnage, really are an offshore casting rod and live bait. Those rods are the second part of that Carnage series and represent excellent values. And then we get into their surf series, which I think this is the first surf series of rods that we've been firmly committed to. Great value there as well, and good designs. And then we get into some specialty pieces, the Allegiance, which are inshore rods. But just to kind of summarize, we're supporting 3 series of rods from Penn, and each of those are exceptional pieces. In the Carnage series of rods, there are 2 basic forms. We have the jigging series, and then we also have the live bait, boat series, Bluewater series of rods that are made to be used cast in iron, toss in live bait, basically excellent boat rods. First off would be the jigging series, and they're available in both spinning and conventional or overhead designs. All feature Fuji components, all are based on graphite blanks. They're like the old Torque series that were very successful rods for Penn, attractively priced, typically about $130 or so, under 150 bucks. The actions on the jigging rods are consistent with that type of application, a little more parabolic in the way they bend. In other words, throughout the blank, and then they'll shut off around about the handle material. And these rods are made for fishing spectra, as are all of the rods in the Carnage series, and basically all the rods that Penn is producing now. They feature a triangular grip. On the conventionals, they'll use the palming trigger, so real comfortable to fish from that standpoint. Super light pieces, realistically priced. All the Penn rods, as I mentioned, are produced offshore at this point in Penn's factory, but at this time, they've got the thing dialed in well. They're producing good quality rods. I'd still say that CalStar and Seeker are the best rods built, and that's where a fellow ought to go if they can. But if you're trying to get away spending less than 200 bucks, the new Penn rods really hit the nail on the head. They do a dandy job. And on the jigging side, there's no better value out there. There truly is not, regardless of what some nameless bicycle manufacturers may have to say. From the jigging series of rods, we come into our casting sticks, and these, certainly they looked at what CalStar was doing again. Penn guys are no dummies, and CalStar pretty well wrote the book as far as state of the art in this respect. They have some models that are your deckhand series, On the deckhand series, typically we're looking at 8 foot in terms of length. They'll use the X-Wrap material, nice skinny rods. So a lot of reels will work. Even a little, fathom, 20 or something would fit on there. The smaller squall comfortably, or a little Avid SX, for instance, and it wouldn't feel funny. Action's a little more parabolic, as they should be on the big jiggers. We get a little faster taper when we get into the 7-footers and shorter rods. Wonderful pieces, and the price is right. They'll fish very, very well. Good warranty from Penn. Nice cosmetics. I don't know if we can zoom this in very well and see how they do the wrap on this piece. But really, they're gorgeous pieces. I like the way the graphite looks here, and then they go back to an unfinished look up above on the rod. And we get into some heavier stuff from them as well. So we've got our 7-footers covering line tests in that 20 to 30 range, maybe even bumping up. And then as we go, say 40 on up, in a mono perspective, we can get into some 6.5-footers and some more stout rods that again are a little faster in terms of action on the way they shut off. Very powerful pieces. Again, using Fuji guides. Again, made for handling Spectra. On this particular model, which is a 6.5, we'll pick up an aluminum reel seat. And the website goes through, what the different seats are. This is a Stewart seat versus a Fuji composite. But bottom line, the Carnage rods, nice pieces. You'll also notice a lot will feature a slick butt. Again, made for use on a boat. The slick butt will come, get in and out of a rod holder, very, very easily. The rods have gimbals. On most of the rods that would have that, trolling as an application. Or potential application. The most expensive rod in that series is about $200, and that would be their trolling piece. Certainly be worked, chunking or live baiting as well. But the rods cover the range of application. In general, we're looking at about $150 or less, up to $200. Nice features, nice actions. They hit the nail on the head with rods that are very realistically priced. I don't think there are any better value quality rods produced at this point in time. Now, from the Carnage series, we go into their Torque Surf series. And the Torque surf rods are really the first dedicated surf rods that we've stocked at this point. Typically here on the West Coast, we can get by fishing almost some trout gear for what we have to offer in terms of surf fishing, unless some guy's going after sharks or something like that. Other parts of the country, surf rods that handle that 12-pound to 30-pound are more popular. You've got more opportunities in stripers and that sort of thing. And certainly these rods are made to handle that. Again, we're using quality guides. They can deal with Spectra very well. More of the rods are in a spinning configuration, although there are some conventionals in the series. Price point's wonderful, well under $150. I think about $130 for all the rods within that series. All are 2-piece. All feature a neat handle. They go from a cork tape to the reel seat, a little more cork tape, then they go back to just a blank. It's all blank through handle design, then back to EVA on the butt section. Real light. The rods go from about 10 feet in length on up over 12. So they hit the nail on the head, as far as surf sticks. And then the last series of rods we wanted to show off. These pieces are very surprising. Penn has some guys on their pro staff that really know what they're doing from the standpoint of fishing inshore for calico bass, and other species, black bass, whatever. They cover that real well, and the guys know it. And so they're basically in the series of the Allegiance line. The rods are made to fish lighter lines, a little faster in terms of the action, the way they shut off. Pretty powerful pieces, and they're great bassin rods, just dandy pieces, and they're priced right. These guys run about $59 at this point in time, and there's no better rod built. On the conventionals, they'll feature a trigger grip. On the spinners, kind of a standard, spinning seat, from Penn. Real lightweight EVA material for the grips. Great price points. The guides will accommodate use of Spectra. Nice wraps. I've been looking at our rods. They've got red and black, and realistic price points. $59 for a quality rod from a quality manufacturer for fishing inshore. That's a hard one to beat. It truly is. So you go from 59 bucks to about 120 bucks on the Surf series, maybe 130 on up to 150 on the Jigging series of rods, and then the Bluewater bait and jig rods, can go up to $200, but probably start out again, 150 bucks or less. Realistically priced, good quality components, good quality blanks, excellent warranty from Penn. I think they hit the nail on the head again. 2012 is going to be a big year for Penn. So that's our video. Hopefully that gives you a little background on the rods. Go to the website. You can check the specs out and see the different models. Strong pieces. I think Penn is on the right track at this point in time. Nice to see.